we call the morphing of the stack. Now, for the last 30 years, I've been in business since 1978. In that period, we have built up and kind of ported into various places something that ended up looking kind of like the client-server enterprise stack. And it was a series of sort of disaggregated layers. And by the way, in each layer, one or more companies would kind of become the gorilla. And most of the 90s was spent on expanding this thing, and most of the last decade has kind of been spent on kind of contracting it a bit. Kind of the way that happens in every industry. It happened in the automobile industry, it happened in the airline industry, it happened in everything. The decade, the first decade of this century was the first decade that tech became kind of an industrial, instead of just a pure growth play off of Moore's Law. So this thing's here. Now you say, okay, what happens with this new, with all these new computing paradigms to this stack? So you say, okay, let's look at it. Desktop environment? No, nobody goes to a desk anymore. Starbucks is an office, right? So whether it's a mobile device, whether it's an iPad, whether it's a BlackBerry, whether we're in the developing economy where there isn't that many computers, it's just a fundamentally handheld device, is the computing thing. That's the new client. So if you're designing, green screens, this is a very small real estate for a little tiny green screen. It won't work, right? Same problem. Transaction applications? No. I mean, yes, they'll still be there, but now interaction applications. Well, what does that mean? Well, all those technologies which anticipate and respond to interactions, the Watson-type stuff is in the background of that kind of thing. Now, you don't have to be a Watson to do this, but you have to bring in some of those technologies. Business intelligence, remember, making the executive smarter, which is a difficult challenge, but we all try to do our best, right? Not anymore, right? Now it's this real-time analytics. It's like, you know what? No, we got to get this now. This has got to be in line, in loop. We got to improve this thing as we go along. Particularly as we move to the Internet of Things. Things don't talk to people very well, and they're not very interested in what people have to say. Right? Things like to talk to other things, and then kind of thing it out, right? Well, we got to figure that out. Collaboration. We've defined collaboration all of my adult life around a document. Whether that was done with Lotus Notes, whether that was done with websites, whether that was done in Microsoft Office, whatever it was, well, not anymore. That's not what happens on Facebook or YouTube or Skype or any of those places. It's all live sessions collaboration. So collaboration has become a session-based, not a document-based activity. Now, are documents part of collaboration? Sure. But they're no longer mediating the collaboration. Before, the document was the place where you came together. Not anymore. Not anymore. The live communication collaboration sessions where you come together. Web application infrastructure, fine. But now mobile application infrastructure. We had app servers, now we need mobile app servers. I was talking to the guys from Centaur or whatever. We're going to have multi-tenant SaaS servers, and we're going to have all these layers of infrastructure which are designed to accommodate and embrace the real-time nature of systems of engagement. Systems management infrastructure, public-private clouds, right? Also all that stuff. Yes, God loved Tivoli, God loved Unicenter, God loved OpenView, whatever the heck it is. But guess what? Those guys were built for one box in one place. Now we got to break it all open. Now what's going on? Databases? Well, databases, how quaint. Right? But the truth of the matter is, by the time it got to the database, at least the databases and data warehouses, I mean, yes, Bijan showed us that there is one side of the chart where you have days or weeks or months. But that's not where this stuff is happening. Where this stuff is happening is in memory, in real time kind of stuff. Operating system? The operating system used to be the most powerful layer in the architecture. It is now a non-event. Right? Between virtualization layers of one type or another, it is a non-event. Remarkable, because I can remember when it was like, I can remember the piece in the Software Publishing Association where in 1986 we were completely paralyzed because it was OS2, Windows, Mac, Unix. What are you putting up this thing on? DOS? What'd you put it on? Not anymore. Mainframe, server, storage, God love them, but guess what? That's what we've completely virtualized and the infrastructure as a service line. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares who your storage company is anymore? Who cares? Because, you know, who cares? Who made the generator that's powering this light? I don't know. Does it work? Okay, that's good enough. Complete data network? Not anymore. It's not data. John Chambers, who runs Cisco, is kind of famous in the 90s for saying, you know what? Data is going to make voice free. It did not make him very popular to the voice people, by the way. Okay? But guess what? It was true. And now, much more importantly, video is going to make data free. So all of a sudden, in a video bandwidth world, data is free. I mean, data communications. Well, what does that do? Every time something becomes free in our industry, somebody figures out a way to find another windfall by doing it. So if you take the whole thing together and you sort of put them side by side, it's not that the stack on the left is going away. The stack on the left is not going away. The stack on the left is the foundation of global commerce. It will continue to be maintained. But most of the value and how much is, and will be a subject of debate, I'm sure, but most of the value I would submit to you has been realized, and we're now just optimizing on the last fractions. The one on the right is largely unrealized value. Although the technology is there, and the consumer paradigm that validates that technology, and the usage model, and the behavioral model is all in place. And all we need to do is tap into that in order to let the enterprise capture that value. So what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to see a consolidation on the left. You're going to see fewer vendors, more suites, you know, more packaging it together, get it from fewer folks to make it work. And you're going to see kind of a best-of-breed explosion on the right, with lots of experimentation, lots of new stuff going on going forward. Both will be powerful. So just to kind of close this thing, I'll turn it back over to Mike. IT today, okay, on the enterprise, systems of record, that's what we grew up with. I think that's consolidated and optimized. The consumer IT, systems of engagement, just in the consumer side, which definitely people are inventing and investing over there. But when we come to the consumerization of enterprise IT, which is kind of what this talk has been, evolution or revolution, both. Evolution at the systems level, revolution at the application level. Is kind of the simple way to do that. Forcing function, dynamics of global business. We've taken the corporation and extended it, so now the middle has become kind of this whole need to communicate, coordinate, and collaborate. Used to be a nice to have, then became a should have, now is a must have in order to make this system work. So in terms of enterprise systems of engagement, which is where this new money would go, what's really new? Investing in IT for the middle of the organization. For everybody who's about from the second level supervisor to not yet a senior vice president. And the truth is, in companies like IBM, the senior vice presidents are in the middle too, because they're trying to hold together this vast ecosystem as much as anybody else. So in that world, you know, what's going to happen to IT organizations? It's going to be another generation of leaders. The 55 and 60-year-old teams that are in place that have grown up with systems of record are not likely to embrace this opportunity. This opportunity is going to get, I think, embraced by the next generation of leaders. And by the way, in terms of the industry itself, I think you'll see a lot of new players come into the industry again on that side as well. And hopefully IBM, who has been a catcher in the rye for 100 years, will continue to be an on-ramp and a conveyor belt of that talent into the enterprise where its brand gives it so much credibility to do that. So with that, I want to say thank you very much. I enjoyed having a chance to address you. I'll see you at the